Our project in Woodbridge on Dukes Meadow. We'll have a little walk down and have a look at see what's going on. It's like lunch break at the moment. Hi, I'm John from Ocker House Windows. We're here in Woodbridge in a nice local project for us. Lovely day today, and there's several interesting details on this project that we'd like to show you. Some steel columns that we're cladding around, some details with how the floor interacts with the windows. On the first and the ground floor, and then just some massive openings that we're going to fill with glazing in a couple of months' time when the windows arrive. As we walk around, I'm going to show you some of the details around the brickwork and the cladding system that are really interesting and nice on this project. And you've got all these really lovely little windows, punched hole windows around the building. It's also being built to a really high level of airtightness, so we're going to talk about how we detail that and what sort of products we're going to use to make sure that the windows perform to the same level as the rest of the building. So this is going to be the front entrance screen with a Velvac door and windows around it. It's going to be a really impressive entrance with a gallery walkway across the top there at the top of the stairs. There's quite a few complicated details here with the angles, how the house transitions from straight to on an angle to straight again. So we're going to be supplying various aluminium trims to deal with those junctions. If we have a little walk around the outside perhaps first. So there's some pretty big windows here, and we've also got a mix of a brick facade and then a green coat, like a standing seam style top section, first floor. A couple of interesting corners where we've got steel beams which will be clad in a fire rated board, and we'll be supplying windows that wrap round this steel with a aluminium flashing to make it all nicely integrated and a complete system solution. And yeah, what a lovely day it is. Over here we've got one of the really massive fixed windows on the project that doesn't open, but it gives a really amazing view across the garden. There's a bit of an elevation change here, so the land drops away and you've got some nice views over houses and trees in the distance. So as we walk around the back of the house, we've got a really lovely floor to ceiling corner window arrangement, three-sided, that's going to create these really amazing views of the garden. In the Velvac system we've got the ability to add various packers and trims to eventually clad these steels with aluminium pressings and insulation, so that we create a full ribbon of windows going around the building. And in the centre here we're going to have a Velvac casement door opening out onto the garden. You can see some of the sort of interesting details that the architect and client have put into the building here, where we've got polished concrete floors. These we have to be really careful of when installing, that we don't damage them. But we've got a lowered section of the compact foam underneath this DPC, so that the door section will eventually line up perfectly with the top of the concrete slab. So a little bit of extra thought in these details really helps with the installation and getting the best result in the end, especially with a polished concrete floor where you can't adjust the height of it later on. So this is the utility room door. One of the common areas where we make changes to architect's drawings is in the direction of back doors. They typically start with inward opening doors, but in almost all scenarios it's more effective to have an outward opening door, particularly here where the door can open against the wall and be well out of the way of sort of coming in with bags of shopping and that kind of thing. And repeated across this building you've got lots of these very small, like little punch hole windows, we'd call them, which really add an interesting aesthetic. And if we look upstairs, you can see where there's a few of them dotted around, which is going to look really good when it's all finished. Shall we go upstairs? So over here in this part of the building, we've got a couple of bathrooms and these really cool little square windows at different heights that create this really nice feeling with the light coming through, especially on a day like today. When it's all finished, it's going to be really cool, a really nice detail. Now we're on top of the walkway across the vaulted ceiling area of the building, where it's a double height space. And on this side we've got that front entrance screen with the Velvac doors below, front door, and then fixed panels above. When we install this, we'll give a really good shot for you guys of how it goes in and how we go about installing such a large piece of glass in a building like this. We'll be using our smart lifting robots to install that because it's just so heavy. I think there's 2 panes there and they each weigh about 250 kilos. So we've got the best part of half a ton going on that steel there. The client has given us all the deflection values for the steel, so we've designed all that into our tolerances. If we come across, we've got another area with a few more of these little punched hole windows looking out over the front of the house this time to the garage. And then you've got these really huge windows again in the bedrooms. On the first floor openings, the full height openings, we've got a detail here where the internal floor is a little bit higher than the actual opening itself. So that gives us the ability to add some extra packing under the windows. The reason being is that we've got such a deep setback here from the outside of the facade to the face of the window that in order to get the right fall on the sill flashing so that water will drain away and not collect against the window, we need to introduce a little bit more tolerance here, and we don't want to end up with a scenario where we've got gaps under the window frame that are difficult to cover. Sometimes you see these details with like a little strip of skirting board or something which kind of look a bit unfinished. So again, another example of where a little bit of thought in the process. Long time ago now that we developed all these details with the architect, but now it's starting to pay off, and when we start installing it should hopefully go a bit smoother because we've thought about all this detail. There's a detail here as well where we've got the internal wall between 2 bedrooms and the windows fitting either side of the internal wall. And what we'll be providing again is another aluminium flashing to cover this piece of stud work and a continuous sill pressing that runs under. So again, it's going to give us a really neat integrated look to the building and mean that all the window openings are really look like one complete thought about system. This building is constructed to a really high level of airtightness. The timber frame company have done a really good job with, they've got things like airtight OSB board, which is this green OSB board. And so when we install the windows, we're going to be using our i3 installation system to back up that level of airtightness and make sure that the windows perform, the seal between the window and the wall performs as good as the window itself. And that will get us to sort of passive levels of airtightness, which is around 0.6 air changes per hour. So over here at this end of the building, we've got a similar detail to the far end, where we've got again a stud wall separating 2 bedrooms, and so we'll provide a window on this side, a window in the other bedroom there, and then flashing to couple them together and give a really integrated aesthetic. And then internally will be airtightness taping back to the airtight OSB, which is the green OSB board, to make sure that we're at almost passive levels of airtightness. Over here in this bedroom, you've got this amazing view over the south side of Woodbridge, all the way to Marsh and Wilds Nature Reserve, which is one of our Suffolk Wildlife Trust nature reserves. Yeah, it's going to be really lovely to sit in here and see the view. So here we can see the inside of the sort of living area and this wraparound window. From this side you can see how it's going to be a really amazing space to share views of the garden, and there's going to be a terrace out here where the ground workers are working. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this bit when it's all complete and decorated. It's a long time off now, but we'll get there soon. So it's probably got quite a low heating load, to be fair, because it's all to passive levels of airtightness. But in here you can see a little bit of the polished concrete floor. That'll all be tidied up, but this will give a really nice detail when it lines up really well with our door thresholds because of that detailing that we've put in at the start. The architect, he's done a really good job on the brickwork design. It really adds a bit of variety to the building. That combined with the green coat cladding system, it's going to look amazing when it's done. There's quite a lot of complicated details here though, just because of the angles and the shapes that are going on, but yeah, most of them have been thought through, and we've got some ability in our system to deal with some of the very complex details at the end. We've got some detailing over here where like the green coat cladding comes into the reveal ready for our windows to fit up to it, which is a really nice detail that's been again thought through again. So that will just mean that we can seal to that green coat cladding, and it will finish things off nicely. Just as we're leaving, I just want to show you the solar panels on the roof here. They're really nicely integrated and concealed in the cladding system. It's a really interesting detail, that really nicely done. Finished here for today. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let us know if there's anything that you'd like us to focus in on the next video.